So thanks for being here tonight, everyone. I think considering the beer market, you are really a hardcore audience, since it's not going so well and you are still here. So compliments on that. Looking back at January 2018, this year, there were about 140 people walking around here. And if you look around now, actually I'm quite surprised, but there are a lot less people. So I think it's really important to say that I firmly believe that it's really important to keep going to events like this, even when it's not going so well. So to network and to learn from other people. So your goals can be either growing your portfolio, or learning more about this cool technology, or learn from other people. So you are here, so compliments on that. So first off, I would like to thank our sponsor, CryptoFriday. They have started an airdrop challenge today. This started at noon, but we already soft launched on Monday, and we already got like 600 subscribers. So it's growing PEP tokens by completing small tasks, and you can also win cool prizes. But more about that later, towards the end of the presentation, or the evening actually. After all the presentations, I will do a quick presentation on that. So. Tonight we have 3 speakers. I will introduce them later, but the first is Andres Campo. He will do a presentation on the Dutch blockchain ecosystem. Then we have Pieter Reitsma, who will do a presentation on cold storage of coins that are not supported by Ledger. And then we have a presentation from Rob Alders, who will give us some tips about trading and investing. So, yes, that's that. Yeah. Oh yeah. So before we go to the presentations, I'll just run through this slide. It's a price update. So the Bitcoin is now trading at 6650. It's coming down from an all-time high of a little over $2,000. Which represents a price decline of about 65%, given or taken some. And Ethereum has experienced a much deeper decline. So it's currently trading at $225, coming from an all-time high of $1,400. So that's about an 85% decline. Looking at the total market cap, which is actually the sum of all market caps of all currencies and all tokens on the market. This was 890 billion US dollar in January, and now it's around 200 billion US dollar. So this is about minus 75% decline. So we are hopefully at the bottom, but I guess we only know at the next meetup to see happy people or sad people. So Crypto Friday. I recently met Andres Campo. He's a really great guy, and he's the host of the blockchain community in Rotterdam. And we started talking a little bit, and we decided to work together on this and host one meetup together and call it Crypto Friday. And if it's successful, we'll probably do this way more often. So Andres is also presenting tonight, and he is doing a presentation on the Dutch blockchain ecosystem. And so please give him a warm welcome, Andres Campo.
Hello. Cool. All right. Is my slides up? Cool. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming here tonight to our very first Crypto Friday. This is an initiative that we're putting together, Crypto010, the Rotterdam blockchain community, and 42 Workspace. So thank you very much to 42 Workspace for allowing us to do this in this amazing space. Let me see if it works. Ooh, I'm going through all the slides. No. All right. Well, you guys already saw the presentation, so thank you for coming. So again, yeah, my name is Andres Campo. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Like it was said before, it's kind of like a bearish market. We really appreciate all of you guys coming up tonight. Yeah, usually we get around double the size of the audience, but it's good to know that the audience that is here is the people that actually care. And yeah, tonight we're gonna be talking a little bit about the Dutch ecosystem and what's behind it. We're gonna be looking at some challenges. More importantly, we're gonna be looking at opportunities, which is what we want to focus on. So yeah, this is the Rotterdam blockchain community. Go check us out at the rotterdamblockchain.com. Yeah, go to our social media as well. So around a year ago, I started the Rotterdam blockchain community, and pretty much everyone that I talked to was so excited about blockchain or cryptocurrencies. This was a trend that I noticed, and this was from community leaders, professionals, investors, all sorts of people. What I found really interesting was this enthusiasm, and this led me to believe, oh, seems like the Netherlands is becoming a blockchain hub, and then you see it more popping up in the news. So we actually had this theory that the Netherlands can become one of the biggest blockchain hubs, and I want to show you first 3 graphs to show and showcase that this is true. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about the challenges and again, opportunities, more importantly. So the very first graph is really interesting. And this is actually looking at the top 10 countries in Europe and actually what is their total funding. What I mean by this graph is total capital funding since 2012. So essentially since 2012, around 7 billion have gone to blockchain startups in the Netherlands, which actually ranks 3rd, so pretty high up. So that's my first point, is that there is money here, there is capital for blockchain startups. Ooh. Can we do it manually? All right. Second slide or graph that I wanted to show you. So CoinDesk is a very reliable source, and they release this industry report every quarter. This is from the 2nd quarter of this year. By the way, all of the data that I'm showing you is very new, and it's within a couple months ago. And we're gonna be posting this presentation so you can see like where I'm getting these graphs from. So what is interesting around here is that in quarter number 2, the Netherlands actually made it to the top 10 countries in terms of number of startups in blockchain. We're around 5 or 6 startups. So my second point is there is development going on here. There are companies and people interested in this technology. And now, if you're not convinced by now, we're gonna go until, we're gonna check out my 3rd graph with a little bit of manual help from my helper in the computer, Chris. Yeah, it's not working for some reason. Yeah. Yeah, that one, there you go. Thank you, man. And yeah, the last one that I wanted you to take a look at is very interesting as well. This is about blockchain startups that are actually registered. And yeah, this is a global overview. And what's interesting is that the Netherlands is, very visible in the map with around 6 projects and around 17 million of capital. This is capital that is coming from all around the world. And this is on quarter number 1. So I wanted to show you these 3 different graphs to kind of prove my thesis that the Netherlands can become a blockchain hub, correct? So now let's take a look at the actual ecosystem. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen graphs like this before. Essentially what we have here is we have different initiatives, projects, and corporations, and they are spread out into industries. So we have about every industry is being disrupted. And what is interesting about this graph and what really caught my attention is the amount of corporate players and big players that is in this graph. So this is what's happening in the Netherlands as in May of this year, so very recent as well. And what's interesting is that you have a lot of government agencies as well being part of this blockchain movement, which is quite interesting. It's something that you don't see in every country. As well as you got pretty much every big player, financial institutions, consultancies, and a lot of startups, incubators. So this is a quick overview of what the ecosystem is here. But let's talk a little bit about the challenges and what can we do to improve and build on top of this system, this ecosystem. Next slide. So this is a very aggressive headline that I found at a report. And I love these headlines. You're probably going to read something like this of Bloomberg. But there's a lot for us to learn from this. And essentially, for us, the people that is in the space, we need to look at these challenges and actually think how we can tackle them. So big risk in ICO market, flawed token valuations, unclear regulations, cybersecurity threats, and congested networks or noise scalability. So these are all challenges that every blockchain or every project is actually facing at the moment. So what's unique about the Netherlands is that, with a little bit of your trend that you see, is that the funding partners are banks, government institutions, universities, big players in the space. And they actually did something very cool, is that they laid out an agenda for research. And essentially this agenda is around the biggest challenges that they have found that the Netherlands is going to face in the blockchain space. And today I want to share those 3 challenges with you. And then I'm going to close it up with opportunities and how we can make this ecosystem even better. So let's take a look at the first challenge. So number 1 challenge is trust, and is how can we generate trust? And this is at a social and institutional level. Ooh, we got lights, good. So this is at a social and institutional level. So can the government actually trust blockchains? Can they trust this technology? And can they actually lead this adoption? Or can they actually be part of this, coexist by it? And how can they properly make sure that if they get replaced by it, is in a, in a well manner? Second is personal trust, and this comes to you guys. Do you guys trust this blockchain or service to put your information in there, to store your data? Do you believe that it's reliable enough? And that also comes to the last part of trust, which is technological reliability, and it's essentially the mechanisms inside these blockchains. Is the consensus mechanism fair? Essentially, you're going to be looking at if the ledger is immutable and if all these things that the blockchain is promising are being delivered. So this comes with the challenges of trust. So let's go to the second challenge. So of course, we're in the Netherlands, so sustainability is a big thing here. So number 1 thing is looking at energy consumption versus the cost of consensus. And this is not a direct jab at Bitcoin, because we know that proof of work requires a lot of resources. But there is, eco-friendly ways and more options that are coming up, and it's very important that we look at those. Number 2, when it comes with sustainability, is the number of transactions and the number of users that can be onboarded on a blockchain. So can they actually support this growth? And we already seen a lot of blockchains that have not supported the growth that is going on. Number 3, one of the most important ones, is resilience of this blockchain. Can they be censorship resistant? Is there a space for power concentration? Then that kind of like loses the entire point of doing a blockchain, right? So it's a pretty big deal. And then number 4 is the economic viability, and by this is actually comparing the technology to different distributed ledger technologies that are coming up, because we know that it's not only blockchain now, there is much more innovation happening. So essentially you really want to do which one is going to be the most viable economically. So these are some of the biggest points on the challenge of sustainability. And to our last challenge is governance. So talking about legal compliance, and this is actually about your rights and your privacy. So do you have the right to be forgotten when using any of these blockchain services? As well as can you manage your data? And do you actually own your data? Or is there a third party in between that manages your data and can control it? It's very important. And Number two is technology transition and evolution. So we know blockchains are evolving all the time. So interoperability is very important, that actually new blockchains can work with the old ones, and that we're able to do transactions overall to streamline services and products. So essentially, these are the three biggest challenges that the Dutch Blockchain Coalition have identified, and they have laid them down on their agenda. For us at the Rotterdam blockchain community, we really see these as opportunities, and if you're a good entrepreneur, you know that any challenge is a good opportunity. So I want you really guys to look at these challenges and look at the people around you and see how you can connect to make some of this gap a little bit not as wide, a little bit tighter, and yeah, find ways to collaborate with the peers that you have among you and different projects that are coming up. So that's what we really want to focus on collaboration. We believe that Rotterdam has a great potential for being a blockchain hub. We just need to collaborate more, and this is actually why we started this initiative with Crypto010. So look at the opportunities. Before I hand over the stage to the next speaker, I do want to talk about two little announcements. So again, yeah, check our website. And those are the links. So I'm not bullshitting on the graphs. So October 12th, we're gonna be talking about blockchain fundamentals. So if you wanna bring your mom, your dad, your brother, anyone that has no idea about blockchain or Bitcoin, yeah, feel free to join us on October 12th. Yes. It's English. Yeah, all of our, yeah. This is at the Venture Cafe. Yeah. So if you want more information, you can find it at the website, at our Facebook page. So yeah, that's October 12th. So very exciting stuff. And then our last event that I wanted to announce. So BTC.com is hosting a hackathon. They're collaborating with Bitcoin Cash. They want to build more on top of Bitcoin Cash. So they're hosting this hackathon in Amsterdam at the end of this month. And essentially, this is also a recruitment event for any developers. So if you're a developer that is looking for a job in the space, make sure that you stop by. And yeah, it's going to be a great hackathon. So bring your ideas and your enthusiasm. Yeah, let's learn, connect, and build. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions? Just one question, maybe? No, that's okay. All right. Nee, we moeten toch zijn laptop aansluiten, hè? Oh ja, die is natuurlijk niet aangesloten nu. Right, so our next speaker is Pieter Reitsma from Crypto Index. I know Pieter personally from a freelance assignment at a government agency. I was the guy who introduced him to crypto, and he went down the rabbit hole, and he never came out. So he's actually still in there, and he's working on Crypto Index, Crypto Index Fund, that I'm also a customer of. and he is ready to do his presentation. So please give him a warm welcome, Pieter Reitsma.
Okay. Okay, thanks for the welcome, DJ. Okay. Now I'm waiting for my first slide. Okay, yes, like DJ said, I'm the founder of the Crypto Index Fund, together with my co-founder, Ekbert-Jan, who's sitting there, also my lovely assistant. So at this fund, we do an index strategy. It's our investment approach to crypto. I'm not going to talk about that. Maybe that's for later time when we sponsor this event, and we're going to talk about the beauty of crypto investing using index strategy. Today I want to do a quick rundown of actually Security 101, and I want to talk about some strategies you can deploy to safely store your funds. Okay, maybe next slide. So when it comes down to crypto, there's a different kind of ownership. When you're the owner of assets like real estate or securities, your ownership is actually defined by law. It's backed by law. If somebody messes with your real estate, or when you somehow manage to lose your stocks, you can still get it back just by going to a judge or going to the police. With crypto, this is different. With crypto, that concept of ownership actually comes down to owning the private key. So we can really be short about crypto security. It all comes down to never expose your private key. The private key, you can compare it with your PIN pass when you have a debit card. If you lose it, if it's stolen, somebody else can spend your money. With this difference, if you lose your PIN pass, you can call a bank, and with blockchain, there's nobody you can call. You really lose your money. So there's some strategies you can use to safely store your funds. Yeah. First one is keep it on online exchange. So online exchanges, it's where most of you, when you buy crypto, well, this will be the first place where you hold your crypto. That's not necessarily a good strategy or a bad strategy, but it's something you can use. Second strategy you can use is keep it on an online device. So it can be your PC or your iPhone or your Android, where you have a wallet software. The private key is encrypted in the wallet software. It's protected by a password, and it's relatively safe. The difference between these two ways, between the online exchange and between the online device, is that when you keep it on an online exchange, you really trust the online exchange to safeguard your funds. They have teams. Usually they're very good at it, but sometimes they fail and they are hacked, and you can lose money. Whereas the second way, when you use an online device, it's really up to you. So you should think of your own firewall, use virus protection. So the difference is this one, you're in control, but you should do it well. In this one, you really depend on a third party, which is the exchange. I don't have any opinion about what is better. So if you're really organized and you know a lot about virus scanners, you might prefer this way. If your PC is a mess, if your life is a mess, or when you have a big mess of private keys laying around everywhere, a lot of wallet software, it might really be better to just keep it neatly in an overview, stored on the online exchange. Also, it depends on well, how much you trade. If you trade every day, it's no use to deposit to withdraw the funds to the online device every day. A third strategy, which is really more fit for a hold strategy, is to use an offline device and paper wallets. So I'm going to go into that a little bit later. Fourth strategy is the hardware ledger. It's a special device. They come in several sizes, several brands create these things. and this is a special hardware device in which your private key is stored, and when it's done right, it's never exposed to the outside world. The fifth way, and that's supposedly I think the most safe way, is the real cold storage, where you keep your private key on an offline device. The offline device is never in contact with the web or with any other network, and you do your transactions using a way is called offline transaction signing. And I'm going to give a demo of that a little bit later when it works. So first up, sorry? It's called offline transaction signing. So it's a way, and I'm going to show it a little bit later. Yeah, hopefully I'm going to do a demo. So first something about the paper wallets. Using paper wallet software, it enables you to create a key pair, which consists of a public key. The public key usually is the same as your address. It's the public address everybody can see where your funds are. And the other part of the key pair is the private key, and that's the one you should shield very, very well. And the beauty of it is that you can really generate such a key pair completely offline on an offline PC, and you're still able to deposit funds which you buy on an exchange to this offline address. And to newcomers in the blockchain space, this is really like a magic, because how can it be that you create an address and you never register on the blockchain, but you still are able to deposit funds to this address? And this is of course the magic where this address actually already exists. It's just when you generate a key pair, you pick it from the vast address spaces, and it's you who have the private key. So when you do that, you have to do it because a lot of coins they offer paper wallet software, but when you generate the software, when you generate these key pairs, you should really do it on an offline PC. It makes no use to generate this key pairs on online PC, because then still your private key has a possibility to be exposed to a hacker or to someone who installs a keylogger on your system. So always do it on an offline PC. And when you have done that, you have the public address, and that you can use to deposit the funds. And then it's really rather safe. It's as safe as you keep your private key, and it's as safe to the extent that you keep your offline PC really offline. So when there comes a moment, so you have this whole strategy, your private key is on the offline PC. There still can be a moment when you want to transfer the entire sum or just a part of the sum back to a different address. So what to do in this situation, and this is something we sometimes use for minor coins in the fund, in the fund that we manage. Then you're forced to expose the private key to the network. So what we do then is we transfer the private key to an online PC, online wallet, and then we quickly transfer all the funds from it, and then really everything. So we leave the address empty, and we deposit the remaining part on a different address, of which we have kept the key secret. So this way it's a kind of throwaway address usage. So for example, if you want to deposit the half of the funds to an exchange, you deposit half to the exchange, the other half you deposit to a new address, of which you have the private key safe. Yeah, some tips when you employ this strategy. A lot of coins, they offer paper wallet software. You're not always sure if it's really coming from the guys who create the blockchain. It can be anyone who creates this paper wallet software. So when you download it or when you find it somewhere on the web, make really sure that it's the official paper wallet software or that it can be trusted. So good software should come with a checksum. When you download it, you can run the checksum and you can check if it's the real paper wallet software. And also, of course, like I said before, this paper wallet software should be able to run on an offline PC. So a lot of times it comes in the form of, with recent new blockchains, it comes in the form of a Chrome extension, and then it's really rather hard, but it can be done just to put the Chrome extension on the offline PC and run it there. Because the attack factor there is that someone creates paper wallet software in a real creative way, where the addresses are not really randomly generated, but where it's already predefined addresses. And when you use this malicious software, you could end up generating addresses of which you're not the unique owner of the private key. So you can deposit funds to it, and somebody else could steal it rather easily. A second tip, so when you create these key pairs on an offline PC, it's important that you not only safeguard the private key, but also store the public address on a place where it cannot be tampered with. If you, for example, put it really on easy somewhere on your PC where it can be hacked very easily, the attack factor there is that somebody changed the public addresses to his own address, and the next time you're going to buy some funds, you're going to look up your public address, and you will deposit it not to your address, but to the hacker's address. So that's also a tip we have. Third tip is, it's when you, on the moment that you transfer the private key, for example, to the online PC, really do it in a secure way. So if you have an offline PC, which you use, a real air-gapped PC, which you use to store all your private keys on, never, for example, transfer it with a USB stick to an online PC. Really, if there's malicious software that could make use of well, infecting somehow the data system of your data carrier, they could still steal your private key. So if you take the effort of creating a real offline PC to store your private keys, please never expose it, never put any USB stick in it or a USB cable. There are better ways to transfer such a string, because private key comes down to a string. What we do in the fund, we use hand scanners. So in this way you can, for example, firstly transfer the private key to a QR code and then scan it, and in this way transfer it to your online PC. So that's a real neat way to make sure that it's only the private key and no other keys leaving your offline PC. Okay, then next one is transaction signing. So this is a way that you can deploy for several coins that offer this method. Of course, Bitcoin does it, Litecoin has it, Monero and Tezos, and that's the most safe way. And it's a way to sign your transaction on the offline device without having the need to for the private key to leave your offline device. So there's some steps involved. Number one, it's creating the unsigned transaction, and this step is usually taken on an online PC. When you have the unsigned transaction, you should transfer it to the offline device, and again, use a safe way to do it. On the offline device, you can sign it using your private key, and then the signed transaction is taken back to the online device, and the only thing then that's left is to submit it to the blockchain. Next slide, I have a graphical. Okay, do the next slide, and I have still a graphical. Yeah. So here's with a graph. Step one, on the online device, create the unsigned transaction. Copy it to the offline device. On the offline device, there's your private key. You can use this private key to sign it. Copy it back to the online device, and the online device submits it to the blockchain. So this is a completely secure way. And this is actually how the pros do it. And when you go to real deep storage, in the caves in Switzerland, they all use this way. But it's not available for too many coins, which is kind of strange actually, because from a theoretical point of view, it could be made available for any coin. But new blockchains, usually the first wallets, they don't take the effort to provide this option. Actually, if you can go back, I can give a demo if time allows, how to do it with Tezos. Yeah, okay. Or maybe I can just show how Tezos does it. So Tezos is a relatively new blockchain. Is it here? Let me do it like this. Okay, Tezos has a couple of wallets available. The best one is it's called Testbox, but Testbox doesn't provide any offline transaction signing. So I'm going to show it how to do it with Kukai. So this is the Kukai wallet. Then first I'm going to simulate how I create an unsigned transaction. So for this I open, let me see. I open the wallet like it looks on the online PC. So this is a special view only wallet. There's really no private key underneath here. and I'm going to do a send. Here's my from address. Oops. And I have a to address here. Oh. So, and let me send about 1 Tezos. So I can do a preview. It's a quick check. Operation failed. Okay, demo effect. Okay, I'm going to try once more, and otherwise I'm just continuing. Let me restart it. Okay, I'm going to log out. Oh, actually, I now see that I'm really offline, so this is not going to work here. Okay, I think I'm going to demo this for everyone who's interested at a later stage. Or, okay, maybe I can make a connection. There's one, the backup or the? Okay, now it's confirming. So now I'm creating the unsigned transaction. I can download it. It comes as a file. Okay, and now I can show you this is the file. And here you see the string. This is the unsigned transaction. So I can copy it, and now I'm going to simulate my step to the offline PC. So this is not done on the same PC, but I imagine this is my offline PC. And then I'm going to choose the offline wallet. So this is the wallet that contains my private key. Now I can go to offline signing, and here I can paste in the unsigned transaction. Okay, that's yes. I have to type in the password. I can do sign. Successfully signed, and then I again can download a new file, which is the signed version of the transaction. So now comes the process where I just talked about, where you need to transfer this signed transaction back to the online PC. You can see it's a little bit bigger number. So in our fund we use the hand scanner at this stage to transfer it in a safe way to the online PC. I'm not going to do that here. So I'm going to log out. So this is the online wallet again. I go to offline signing. And then here's the place where you can just broadcast it to the blockchain. So I paste it in, and I click on broadcast. And then I get a transaction ID. And that's basically it. I can then go to the Tezos scanner. It's a block explorer. And then usually it takes some time to get mined. Maybe this one is quicker. So let me check. Okay, I can look for the transaction. So this all depends on the proof of stake network of Tezos. Okay, maybe I can come back later and then it will be mined. But this is the way it goes. Okay. I'm almost finished now. So some tips and tricks for when you handle crypto funds in a professional, institutional way. So when you storing the funds of your ICO, or when you're running a fund like us. We've been doing it for almost a year now, so we took it really to a higher level. First one is the 4I principle. So it really comes down to never doing anything alone when you're handling the funds. So and this is not only having a guy sitting next to you looking over your shoulder, but if you have a good procedure, it also creates some barriers for somebody to ever do transactions alone. So when you make procedures for this, you should always make it in such a way that at least 2 or maybe preferably 3 people are required for transfers. Never just when you're handling like big sums, do it without making a procedure. Always test it, do it with small amounts before you go for the real stuff. Test your procedures. When you're doing this stuff, log every step you take. Cover your ass or just as a proof what you did. Every software that you use, and we are keeping 30 different coins in the fund, so that's a lot of different paper wallets, online wallet software. Every time you use it, check if there's any updates. When you're using old software, it just might be a vulnerability, and you might be doing stuff not in the safest way possible. Keep evaluating your stuff. Last but not least is like, so you can put in a lot of security barriers and protect every step with new passwords or multi-sig passwords, but it's really important to keep it workable as well. So if you're doing a lot of transactions in the most secure way, it's really hard to do it. It takes a lot of attention, and if you make it too difficult for yourself, you get tired and you start making mistakes. So you should always think of a good trade-off between workability and security. Okay, next one. That concludes my sheet. So in our funds, we keep 30 different coins, but we rebalance every month. So I think already we have maybe some 50 different coins that we had that were in the fund at one stage. So for all of these coins, we created a special manual on how to do the best way, how to do the best cold storage. You can find it here on the GitHub. We decided to open source it because there's really no secrets. So we did a lot of research into which paper wallet to use, which online wallet software to use, how to install it, how to transfer it to an offline PC, and this stuff is all documented here. I didn't talk about a hardware ledger, which is one of the best ways, one of the safest ways to store the stuff. Although there still is the third-party risk that you have to trust the maker of this hardware ledger. But when there's hardware ledger support, also we put there the link to the manual of how to do it with a hardware ledger. So this is something you can use. Okay, if there's any questions, I can answer them now or after the talks. Also, any questions about the fund, me or my co-founder is willing to answer them. And then thanks for your attention. We can take a look at the Tezos transaction. Wait a minute, maybe let's check if Tezos has already come through. It should be. Wow, now I'm losing my trust in Tezos. It's still not there. Okay. Okay, who has a question? Sorry? This is the transaction ID. Yeah. I can take a look at the destination address. Maybe I can see if the transaction happened there. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah. No, you're right. So actually the upper one, that's it. That's where I transferred the 1 Tezos. Yeah. So the question was if I just was showing the right transaction ID in the Tezos blockchain explorer, and it appears I wasn't. Now I'm looking at the from address, so I transferred 1 Tezos from this address to that address using the offline transaction signing. These are all previous transactions which I did this morning when I was preparing this talk. So it worked. More questions? Oh, another one. Yeah. So do you have a good way not using the terminal by creating world fractions, picking up from a file to the other? What do you mean with not using the terminal? A user interface that makes it possible to spend from one specific address. No, actually for Bitcoin we use the hardware ledger, and that's really you're not in control of choosing from which address it comes. That's true. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, we haven't researched into it actually. Yeah. No, it might be interesting. That's yeah. So the question it's a bit in-depth question, but when you're using a Bitcoin and you're using the hardware ledger, all your funds get spread over a lot of public addresses because it uses a system that's called hierarchical deterministical wallets. And well, if you have the XPub, then you can still have a good overview of where your funds are. But I'm not sure if there is such a system. Why would you want it?
I regularly spend from one specific address.
Okay.
One specific UTXO.
Yeah.
But I still do it using terminal. And
Okay.
I want to do it using this.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Okay.
Right. Thanks, Peter, for your presentation. That was really interesting. Yeah. So our next speaker is Rob Alders. Rob has learned how to have money work for him. He's a trader, advisor, coach, and investor. And he's here to give us some insights in cryptocurrency trading and investing. So please give him a warm welcome.
Ja. Wauw, hij is wel strak. Hij is goed strak op mijn hoofd. Jeetje. Zo, oké. Dankjewel. Yeah, that's okay. Can everybody see the flip chart? Yeah, we'll put it over there. That's good. Thank you, Andres. Yeah, sure. Raise your hand if you already trade in cryptocurrencies. Fantastic, thank you. And raise your hand again if you're trading cryptocurrencies successfully with profit. I see a few less hands. Great. Can I have the next slide, please? One back. No matter how you felt, no matter what you felt, no matter what happened, you decided to come here and learn a lot more about cryptocurrencies. I really appreciate that because you could be doing anything else. Seeing the weather today, would it be nice to be outside or going to the gym or watching TV? But this big group is teaching me that you're really interested in cryptocurrencies and you want to know a lot more about blockchain. Raise your hand if I'm right. So my task is to give you a lot of energy and you give the energy back to me. But give each other a pat on the back and say, great, you guys made it. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank our hosts. Could you give them an applause as well? Fantastic, thank you. Really good. We're talking about technology, but the technology worked a little against us, but you're still here. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. So, who would like to know a little more about me? Wow, you guys are great, thank you. Who would like to know a little more about me? Raise your hand then at least. Fantastic. My name is Rob Alders. I lost my job in 2012. I was a logistics manager and yeah, I ended up on street. And what did I do? I went to personal development events and I learned how to trade stocks and currencies. At that time, there was Bitcoin, but it wasn't really very well known. And I started making profits and losses out of trading. Eventually, in 2015, I started a coaching company. And the reason was, by teaching other people how to trade, I learned a lot more about trading. Who knows what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. Thank you. And from there on, I got more and more successful in trading. The rest of that story is on YouTube, where my mentor interviews me, and I show you a lot more how I did. And then cryptocurrencies popped up. And I started investing in cryptocurrencies. I didn't trade it yet, just invest. But a lot of people are confused now. What is investing and what is trading? And I'd like to tell you a lot more about that. Just a warning, and I do this warning for everybody, every time. Trading in any form, way, or investment is a very risky business if you don't know what you're doing. It's like driving a car blindfolded. Who knows what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. So you need to learn how to trade. You need to learn how to do things. But there's very simple principles that we've learned with stocks and things like that. And all of a sudden we see and we hear about cryptocurrencies that you can make 1,000% profit and you go berserk because you're borrowing money from anybody and everybody and you're losing it. Not a good idea. Start small, make 3% profit on that, and then start growing. And that's a very wise thing. But the next thing, let me see if I'm going the right way. There's a lot of news and there's a lot of bullshit about cryptocurrencies, the gossip. I'd say there's about 30% news about cryptocurrencies and 70% about the gossip. The gossip ended up in its high point in December last year, whereby a lot of press, a lot of exposure was, hey, cryptocurrencies, you got to get into it. You've got to buy Bitcoin. Funnily enough, the Bitcoin was at a very high level. A lot of people bought it, and it started decreasing, and the interest in cryptocurrency started decreasing. But the news changed. And they said, blockchain, wow, that's something, we don't know if it's going to work. We don't know if it's going to grow. Cryptocurrencies, be careful. Who here is self-employed and has a company? Thank you. Who here has a job? Raise your hand. Okay. Let me tell you this. In the coming 5 years, the way you work and the way you live is going to change because of the blockchain. It's not a voluntarily thing. It's going to happen. Because the blockchain is going to run almost everything in our lives, whether we want it or not. So adopt it. But what is the difference between investing and trading cryptocurrencies? Actually, I'm going to show you. Price cost average is that you buy each month at the same time the same amount of, let's say, Bitcoin or Ethereum. And over the period, you buy at the same, it'll go up or down. But the average price that you're buying at will always decrease. It will. And it means you're buying something for a cheaper price. This strategy takes about 10 minutes a month and it can be automated. However, it is not very profitable because you'll be making around 5% a year. Almost as good as putting your money in a savings account. Who understands what I'm talking about? Thank you. Now, value cost averaging works a little different because what you do there is at the same time, every month, you look at the price. And if the price is lower, you buy more. And if the price is higher, you buy less. But you're still investing. And you're doing something like 7 to 10% a year profit. But it works a little better, and you can change to that. So you can say, okay, when the price, and I'm going to do it in a chart, this is the price, that is the time. So January, February, March, April, May. And you're looking at the price. Now, if the price is here in January, what are you going to do? Anybody? If you're only buying, but sell is the good answer. Thank you very much. If you're only going to buy, you're going to buy less because it's too high. The next month you look at the price and it's around here. And you say, well, it's a lot lower than that, so I'll buy a little more. In February. In March, the price is a little lower. And you say, okay, I will buy a lot more. The value of what you're purchasing decreases. The value, the price. So every time you're buying something at a lower price, which means potentially your profits will go more. In April, the price is again here. And you buy a little less. You do this for a year and you get 7% interest on what you're buying. However, the next part is buy-sell zones. You're going to split the chart into, let's say if this is half, one part here, you divide your chart to a lower part and you divide it to a higher part. In this area now, you don't do anything. So now when the price is here, you don't buy. When the price is here, you buy more. And you're going over timing the market. It's not time in the market, you're timing the market. And you see that when the price is here, you can even sell. And now you're buying low and selling high. Remember last December? What did a lot of people do then? They bought high and they said, this doesn't work, I'm going to sell it. Exactly the opposite. Exactly, and this is the wrong mindset. Now, at point 4, we're getting into buffalo trading. And buffalo, we have bulls, bears, but you've never heard of a buffalo. And a buffalo is a stock that moves sideways, or a cryptocurrency that moves sideways. And what can you do with this? You milk it for what it's worth. What happens in investment, you buy here and you sell there. And if you look over a year, you think, wow, I didn't make a lot of profit there. I lost a lot of money. But if you sell here, buy here, and in technical trading terms, you're going short and going long, the money is made in the middle. And the milking is every time you go long, you go short, you go long, you go short, and you make a profit. On a stock like DSM, I'm making 136% on a stock. Now you look at the 10 biggest cryptocurrencies and you see a sideways movement. This kind of profit is made. But why do you do that? Because you're moving with the market. You're moving with the market. Then the next step is you go to leveraged trading. For every euro that you spent, the broker will give you 10 euros to work with. Isn't that fantastic? You can make a lot of profit now. A lot more. Because the profit you're making here is now 10 times bigger. Who would like to learn how to do that? Nobody? Wow. Thank you very much. So that's the whole story. But now you understand, a lot of people think they're trading while they're only investing. They're buying and holding it without a plan. Because if you buy something, you need to know where you're going to sell it. But people don't do that. They buy and they think, oh, it'll go a little more, a little more, a little more. And it's almost at 75%. They think, I'll hold it. It's going to go a little more. but you need to learn a technique which is called scaling out. In stocks and Forex, you do a third or a half of your position. In cryptocurrencies, you can do a tenth of your position. Sell a tenth, sell a tenth, sell a tenth, and you make that whole ride and you're making money like crazy. It works. I now do the opposite with Bitcoin because the price of Bitcoin is decreasing. And now I'm just going short and short and short and short and short and say after me, short. And I'm making a hell of a lot of money while people around me are saying, wow, cryptocurrencies, they don't work, man. This doesn't work. But then I thought, how am I going to trade in a really easy and handy way? Investing, long term, you need more capital when you invest. You set time to check your portfolio, no stop loss. I'll explain that later for those that don't know it. Buy when it drops, sell when it increases. You're investing, you're not trading. Trading is when you work with 3 types of transactions with every trade. The entry price when you get into the market, the exit price when you get out of the market, but what if it goes the wrong way? You use a stop loss that stops your losses. And now you are trading with calculated risk. Because now you can say, I will accept a 1% loss when it goes the other way. Always use a stop loss. Build a process. Don't start looking at all the cryptocurrencies, but work with maybe the 10 or 15 largest ones. Because market capitalization is very important. When you're going short, it means you got something, you put it in the market, but you need to buy it back to give it back. But if nobody's selling what you need to buy back, you've got a big problem. Because it might go up and it goes up and then you have to take a big loss. So be really careful. Think in ratios. If I can have €1 risk, I want to make at least 3 times more profit. The ratio is €1 risk, at least €3 profit. Who's heard of binary options? Nobody? Fantastic. Binary options is bullshit. They want you to risk €100 to make €60 profit. Don't ever get involved with these people. Do not use or work with binary options. Never predict the market. Never. When I'm talking to somebody, and there's a lot of people that predict that the Bitcoin can go to 20,000 euros. I'm like, based on what? Based on how? Tell me. In fact, when people start predicting prices, I run away. Because there's no way. You can just react to the market. That's all you can do. There's no other way of working with this. Because if you mentally start saying the crypto or Bitcoin will go to 20,000 euros and it's at 15 and you say, no, 20,000, and it goes back down, you've lost your opportunity. Who understands what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. Great, fantastic. And trading is 80% mindset, 20% technique. The technique you can learn. Press this button, press that button, move this, there, and that, and that. But remember when a lot of people got into cryptocurrencies and they said, wow, volatility is good. And all of a sudden they became really sick because they were making insane losses and insane profits. That was mindset. Pure mindset. There's a voice in your head that starts screaming when something happens that you don't want to. As a matter of fact, I have a whole orchestra in my head. But nowadays, I am the conductor. But I started thinking, how are you going to trade cryptocurrencies in a profitable way? How do you do that actually? How do you make money on market movements? And I use the currency method. It's called Forex, foreign exchange. Dollar against the euro. And I thought, well, dollar against the euro, why can't I do the dollar against Bitcoin and dollar against Ethereum and dollar against other currencies? You have the base currency, you have a quote currency, and the difference in pricing is the spread, and the spread is what the broker takes away. But if your spreads are cool, you're making money on small movements, and you make money in a very fast way. Stocks is long term, Forex is short term. I work sometimes with 1 minute charts. Dollar, Bitcoin, Japan yen, Bitcoin. And I maximize my profit because I'm using leverage. But there's a platform called MT4 where you can work really well and really accurately. You can even talk to your broker and ask for smaller spreads. And I've done it like this. I've studied this for the last 6 months, and it works. I'm making a hell of a lot of money on this in a downwards market, but I'm just trading Japanese yen, Ethereum, euro, Bitcoin, pound, Bitcoin, doesn't matter. But I'm leveraging in 2 ways now, because I have a normal fiat currency and I use cryptocurrency and I get the spreads. It's a platform that is really easy to program. You're really easy to find all the tools and do what you want. This is the way. If you want to learn how to really trade cryptocurrencies, do it on an MT4 and work with that. But you need to learn how to do it, just like driving a car. I did a market study of Dash, 11th largest cryptocurrency, and it's a result of a fork with Bitcoin. However, they work with master nodes, which are like stockholders, and they all hold a different part of the whole system, whereby it makes this system really, really interesting. Now, I'm not allowed to give you tips, but a take profit, I just explained, you need 3 transactions. The entry point at $174, a take profit at 226, and if it goes the wrong way, you have less than 1% risk. This trade is the one that I'm doing this week, and it's working out. You see the market decreasing here. I'm stepping in here and I'm going up because it will go up. Why? Because I just react to what the market does. This part is pure a buffalo system. It's a sideways stock, sideways movement. I buy here, sell there, and I just milk it, and it's going to go up. Because this is a retracement. It's not a very strong retracement, but it's like a deflation of air in order to jump up again. And I've got my system in. What will I do when it gets to 226? I'll sell 25% of my position and wait until it increases, and I'm scaling out. Ethereum. A study here says that it's going to a pennant. And a pennant, if the risk is smaller, but your profit ratio is also a lot smaller. And when it goes to a pennant here, something has got to break. Something has got to happen. It's either going to go down or up. It will be a breakout. I'm just waiting for that to happen. And analysts are they're pointing to high leverage positions on Ethereum. Which means if the big boys are going in, I'm going as well. And I can see that. However, I also know that 5 cryptocurrency ETFs, and that's an electronically traded fund, have been denied in the States. So I know that there's big money going to the regulated systems. The tiny person on the street, it means opportunity. Take the time and money to find out how to learn, how to find out how to really trade in a responsible way, and you've got a second income. Who knows what I'm talking about? Because nowadays, a second income is vital. If next month there is no money on your account because your boss went broke, or the client in your company didn't pay, and you don't have savings, you've got a problem. Which means now you're a month away of financial disaster. And if you can make a second income from trading, you're a lot safer. Who's heard about this news? Walmart, thank you. Walmart, as of next year, September, will only accept deliveries of fruit and vegetable through the blockchain. Wow. Only through the blockchain. Why? Because the Food and Drug Administration needs people to isolate contaminated shipments. And the only way to do that in a supply chain system is through the blockchain. When I read this and I heard this, guess what I did? I bought Walmart stock. I know these guys are going to make it. Because this is a project between Walmart and IBM. Regulated big companies. This will be a success. Who's going to profit from this? And that's why you come to these meetings. That's why you come here, to get a little advantage, to create that second income, to make sure you are recession proof. Look into it and do what you need. Apple, iOS 12 is introducing new Bitcoin glyphs. And people are saying blockchain and cryptocurrencies are here not to stay. This will disappear in the future. Apple, new software on the Bitcoin. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that a big signal? Thank you for your attention. I do a lot of different things. I give cryptocurrency courses. I give Forex courses. I do all types of education. These are my websites. If need be, I'll do it in Dutch. We have Dutch courses. And we're here to serve you. We're here to help you make that second income that you really need. Thank you for your attention. But I have one offer for you. I talked about Forex trading on an MT4 platform. And if you're not really sure that it's something for you, I have a Forex one day, a specialist from the UK will come over and teach you the different strategies that are possible. VIP seating, reduced price, general seating, reduced price, and I have a special offer. Ask me, what's the special offer? You can bring somebody with you for the same price. Thank you very much for your attention. Yalda will be in the back. You can fill in the form. I hope you had fun, and I hope you learned something. Is that right? Wow, these guys have so much energy, you know? Did you learn something? Did you have a lot of fun? What time is it? Almost beer o'clock. Thank you.
Right, that was a presentation. That was a presentation of Rob Alders. Thank you very much, Rob. That was really interesting. Please give him a warm applause. I do have one comment on your slides. You wrote Ethereum with an I, so please fix that for the next presentation because, yeah, that's the basics. So, right, the next slide, or do I have the ticker? Or oh, there it is. Oh. Right, so we have a special announcement to make. As you know, we have been working on a blockchain game. It's called CryptoPepes. It's actually derived from CryptoKitties. But there are some differences, like the economy is a bit different behind the game. For example, in the CryptoKitties game, the most valuable in-game asset is the Generation 0 kitty, and there are about 50,000 Generation 0 kitties. But in our game, everything is much more scarce. So our Generation 0 Pepes, there are only 1,100 of them, and there will ever be 1,100 of them. And another difference is that Pepes are just way cooler than kitties. So the big announcement is that we previously tried to launch the game, but we were stopped because of the Ethereum network was really congested. So we had to postpone, but because that was just before the summer, we thought, okay, it's not a good idea to launch now in the summer because everyone is on a holiday. So yeah, we are going to launch it now. It's a flexible launch date, a soft launch date on 10 October. And yeah. So it doesn't come down to exactly that day, but otherwise it will be 11 or 12. But that's the target. And then there's another announcement, is that today we have launched the CryptoPepes airdrop challenge. And this allows you to participate. And we will airdrop 500,000 PEP tokens over all the participants. And you can earn actually tokens within that challenge by completing small tasks. And also you can win prizes. So once all the PEP tokens are distributed, it's still interesting to participate for the prizes. For example, we have around $4,000 to $5,000 worth of digital assets as prizes. This is the Satoshi card, which is trading for $3,200 according to CoinMarketCap. This is actually a card within the game Spells of Genesis. This is the rare Pepe card, which is trading at around $500 on the counterparty order books. And this one is 1 Ethereum, which is trading at about $225. So these are the prices. And actually we soft launched this airdrop tool already on Monday. And we already got 600 sign-ups, so it's growing exponentially. So you have to be quick to claim your tokens. So all you have to do is go here to this address, airdrop.cryptopepes.io. You can just sign up using your Telegram ID, and it's live now. So to wrap it evening up, thanks to 42 Workspace for providing this venue. Then big thanks to Peter, Anders, and Rob, and of course the volunteers. So thanks a lot.